Hello and welcome. I'm Srinivasan and this is Talking Sense with Srini. Nitish Kumar, the JDU Supremo, is hanging up his boots as Chief Minister and is opting for a Rajya Sabha seat. While this may come as a surprise for many, it has long been anticipated and is hardly a black swan event. Joining us to decode the implication of this move is our editor in chief S. Srinivasan. With Nitish Kumar now quitting as Chief Minister and opting for Rajya Sabha seat, you think JDU has now become more of a subsidiary of the Bharatiya Janata Party? Is this a more of a subtle acquisition you see?
Right. This is not the first thing such a thing is happening. And, it was very much, if you remember, we also had in one of these conversation predicted that something of this nature could happen, where ultimately BJP would gobble up Janata Dal, which is there in Bihar. Now that's what is happening if you see all around. If you look at the other trend which has happened, the most prominent large party which has something of this nature has happened is Maharashtra. At one point of time, basically BJP was a tail ender. It was hanging on to the coattails of Shiv Sena. This I'm talking of undivided Shiv Sena. And then election after election, gradually BJP grew on the back of Shiv Sena, and they even try to, share power. But Shiv Sena was always dominant. Then you saw something happened between 2019 and 2022, after Shiv Sena's government collapsed, headed by Uddhav Thackeray. You saw a split, and two parties, faced a split. One is NCP, headed by Sharad Pawar. On the one side, the other, Uddhav Thackeray's own party, which split into again. And the same trend, the original party remained with the splitters, and the founders found themselves, almost, I would say that, claiming, going and legally trying to approach and get back their symbols. And what happened was, after the split, both Ajit Pawar on this side and then Eknath Shinde on the other side went in, alliance with BJP. And at least one of them became chief minister for a short while, and the other became deputy chief minister. And then unfortunately now, Ajit Pawar has died, so the demerger couldn't happen. But the merger which happened almost with the NDA, what I meant merger is not the merger of the parties, but with the alliance, has actually propped up BJP to number one position in Maharashtra, and they're on a very strong wicket now. So it's wherever BJP could not grow on its own organically, it has actually adopted this inorganic merger and acquisition kind of a approach. You can either call it merger and acquisition, or you can even call it alliance and absorption. That it originally forms an alliance with a stronger regional party. Over a period of time, BJP you would find them at the number one position, and the regional party is sliding to number two position. Another example which you could see is in Orissa. There was a time when, with Biju Janata Dal, BJP tied up and then they split. But then after the split, I think they split at a point where BJD began to imagine that, it is actually counterproductive for them. But then BJP had its momentum going, and with overall Congress sliding everywhere, BJP could quickly replace and get into that place. That's what you saw. But there are some exceptions of this. We can go into state by state. But, if we look at the larger picture, what has happened, the first formative years, whether it is 50s, 60s, 70s, even to some point in 80s, not so much in 80s, before that, till 70s, it was a dominance of actually one party, Congress Party. And then in the 70s, when the emergency happened, and then, there is a certain movement which was done by JP, Jayaprakash Narayan, and that actually galvanized all opposition to come together. And that point of time, everybody came together, socialist, BJP, which is basically a right-wing party. Then they were struggling. They were earlier, they had a different name, Bharatiya Janasangh. And then they became BJP and they came together. But then what happened was, BJP was formed later because Bharatiya Janata Sangh, then they had a split because on the question of ideology, because they were also the Janata Sangh members were also members of the RSS. Yeah. So there was a split, and then therefore the split. Otherwise, Janata Party ran for nearly 2 years. So that's the thing, that the time when the things changed. But then BJP rose in the 80s, mid 80s, following the Ram Janmabhoomi agitation and also some strategic mistakes made by Rajiv Gandhi, which included the Shah case. So that's where the switch happened. And BJP has since been growing. If you had to look at the growth of BJP, they had in
It's been consistent since
1980, they had 31 seats in the parliament. 1984, only 2 seats. That's the time when Mrs. Gandhi died and the sympathy wave was very strong. Yeah. But then subsequently they have been growing 85, 120, 161, 182, 182 twice, 1998 and 1999. And then you saw 2014, it was a different ball game. Say they did fell to 116 in 2009, but then 2014, the history, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister, then things changed. 2014, 1924, of course, BJP suffered a bit of a setback because it could not get a majority of its own. It only got 240, seats, and with their, so they had a trouble. That's when they tied up with regional parties. But then the interesting thing is that regional parties, though they are backing, which included JD, which is supporting BJP at the center, didn't have the enough, strength to oppose them, and they capitulated. And that's what you see. Even TDP has not been able to get anything for itself, though they are supporting crucially BJP at the center. The demand for funds for Amravati is still pending. So this is a massive change which has happened. But then there are other examples. If you want to see Punjab. Punjab is one example where they did tie up with Akali Dal, and then Akali Dal is now a bit of a disarray, but BJP could not create a base of its own. Something else happened in Jammu Kashmir. They tied up with Mehbooba Mufti, and PDP actually lost after that. And for a brief while, even the National Conference was in partner with BJP, and they were they were in Vajpayee's government. But then they realized later that it's allying with BJP could be dangerous because they lost very badly in the subsequent election, so they kept out. But after this split with PDP, one thing has happened. BJP managed to consolidate its position in the Jammu region, though it could not do much in the Kashmir region because of the valley, because of the demography there. And then you know what happened 2019, the president, the governor, the abolition of
Article 370.
Yeah, so all those kind of things happened. There are other examples if you want to see what happened in Jharkhand. AJSU, the basically, it's the
Jharkhand Mukti
Akhil Jharkhand Students Union. They tied up with BJP, and subsequently BJP has become now dominant there. Except in
but it's still
West
number 2
Bengal.
in Jharkhand.
Yeah, West Bengal, where you saw basically where TMC also tied up with BJP. Mamta was part of Vajpayee's government. But then in the state, BJP has spread, but mostly at the cost of left and Congress, not so much
the TMC,
because TMC has managed to keep it out. So there are only 2 states where non-BJP regional parties are in power in a very this thing. One is Tamil Nadu, of course, the other is, of course, TMC's West Bengal, and then the left party, which is in power in Kerala. Keralam, if I may
Yeah.
say. So these are the changes which has happened. So let me come back to the question. In the earlier dominance was of Congress Party, then for nearly 25 years, 2.5 decades, it was a coalition which dominated the politics at the center, and now it's a rise of BJP since 2014 onwards, which you see the rise going further. Before that, also the challenge, as I pointed out, how they have managed to increase the tally. Yeah. So that's what the scenario right now is. So now BJP is in a position where it is almost, which was earlier known before that as a North Indian party,
It's now a
only a
pan-Indian
Hindi
party.
heartland party, has now managed to spread its wings to west, to east, and even south, like Orissa. And then they are facing, at least they managed to increase their vote share, if not completely dominate Tamil Nadu and Kerala. These are the various ways, if they can't grow organically, they have managed to grow inorganically. And so that's how BJP has grown and now become a dominant national party. One of the major reasons is also why this happened is a decline of Congress Party. Its inability to oppose or to give a kind of a pushback to BJP. That's also one main reason.
See, it's very interesting that you also talked about Maharashtra. Shiv Sena and the NCP also, saw the split there. In those cases, BJP did not wait for a friendly handover. They barged in, they broke the party from within, right? So, but with Nitish, it looks like a very smoother exit there. So is there a two track strategy there? One, there is a hostile takeover. That's something that we call it in acquisitions as well, in corporate strategy. And where when the leader rests, you do this hostile takeover. Or sometimes, if he if he plays along, you do this quiet absorption of sorts. What has happened with JDU right now?
Well, it's not one strategy which BJP is following. See, the overall strategy seems to be the same, that wherever you are growing, where you cannot grow fast, because it's very difficult to grow organically in a short period of time. So you do a merger or you acquire. That's what BJP has done, and it has done very successfully, and they managed to do it very well. But then the tactics is different from state to state. The strategy overall is to do this kind of acquisition. But then while doing that, it differed from state to state. Like you yourself pointed out, Maharashtra was more aggressive, that the party was split into pieces and the various pieces were absorbed, and they ran government for some time, and then they took over to become the numero uno position. See, the signals were very clear in Bihar also that this was going to happen. And I think the other factor which came handy to BJP is the Nitish Kumar himself not being in a very good health. That also came handy. And then the anti-Congressism of these parties have been so strong, and also they don't see the possibility of Congress being able to give an alternate. Nitish did try for a brief while to switch over with the help of RJD and Congress. He did try to form a government. Same thing was tried in Maharashtra also. But then, the belief among electorate also was that eventually some of them may actually slip back to BJP. That's what happened. If you look at Madhya Pradesh, what happened? Many MLAs of Congress eventually went and joined BJP. This happened in Gujarat also. If you see the tally of Gujarat constantly coming down. This you saw at a different level in Telangana, where BRS as a party was able to absorb a lot of Congress guys, but then tables turn. When Congress has come into power, there is a reverse movement which is happening at a regional level. But at national level, BJP has done this very successfully, and these are the reasons for the slide.
But the real prize, when you do these kind of acquisitions, is not the leader, but the kind of vote bank that he brings. It's just basically the market share that generally they bring in. So Nitish delivers this Kurmi Khori consolidation in Bihar, which was which is in a way helpful for the alliances to come to power there. But has BJP actually managed to hold on to those caste coalitions? In past acquisitions earlier, do you have an idea of that?
Yeah, so there is it's a very interesting question. See, even when the Sharad Pawar split was happening, why did Sharad Pawar's party split? It's basically its uncle who was
Ajit Pawar.
Ajit Pawar, and they are still very close. In fact, before his death, it was believed that they
They're about to
had
come together.
about to come together, and a very emotional reunion, because emotionally he's still very attached to Sharad Pawar. But then there was a pressure from the cadres not to join back. That's what is being said, because end of the day, many of these parties, the specifically the Congress Party, at one point of time, even uh, Rajiv Gandhi pointed out that it has become a party of power brokers. See, the self-interest comes into play. Now, what was being seen in the case of NC, National Conference, Sharad Pawar and also Ajit Pawar, the faction leaders of Ajit Pawar were pushing them and then saying that let us go with the party in power, because anyone in power, there are more possibilities of getting benefits, if I may put it very crudely, loaves of bread, So how do you split the cake? So probably you will get a better piece of cake when you are in power. And many of these, there is also that groundswell of push saying that it is better to ally with a party in power than someone like Sharad Pawar, who's seen. I mean, even Sharad Pawar won't be, uh, pretty this thing to be with a party in power. But then only those political parties which feel that aligning with BJP or aligning with any other party may be detrimental to their own existence in the state, they switch. For instance, Tamil Nadu, DMK was in power with BJP. They shared power.
That's
They
right,
were
Vajpayee government.
Vajpayee government. Same is the case with, like I said, NC. But then when they realize that the
No, I'm
same,
PDP.
yeah, PDP. So, but then when they realize that, this has gone along with Vajpayee but doesn't work so much with Modi, because he
That's right, yeah.
pushes a much more stronger flavor of Hindutva. So DMK also sees this, that if they tie up, and that's one reason where Edapadi has been quite uneasy with the alliance with BJP, because at some point of time he thought he may lose votes. So the politicians also look at the groundswell of change which is happening. But that wasn't case in Madhya Pradesh, as I pointed out earlier, because probably the many the electorate in Madhya Pradesh did realize that even if we elect a Congress leader in power, maybe after election he'll switch to BJP, because that was very actively happening. Because BJP is become too much of a powerful magnet, a power on their side, resources on their side. So that's one thing. The other thing I think which we need to keep in mind is the appeal of right wing growing across the globe. It's not a phenomena limited to India alone. If you see across the globe, the appeal of right has been growing for last decade and a half. So I think that has also has a role to play in Indian politics too. So the question which you're basically asking, if the leaders move, they do move, one can understand. But then why the electorate also? Because of the various reasons, as I point.
But I'm sure, but this strategy might not also work in every single place. Do you see stage where, it hits, the strategy hits a wall?
Yeah, it's not been very very even for BJP also. They
Like, for example, you
try.
talked about Tamil Nadu, West
Yeah,
Bengal.
so they try, they succeed in some places, but they also fail in some places. But one thing about BJP, that they are persistent. They haven't given up their ambition for Tamil Nadu or Kerala. But they have here, their progress is far more incremental. So if you look at them, they have managed to increase the vote share both in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and they seem to be thinking that okay, if we cannot do like a quick acquisition, at least do a gradual acquisition, which is also another strategy. That you may not be able to a one-shot acquisition, but keep buying shares in small bits and pieces. At some point of time, maybe you will be able to topple the current regime. So I think they work on multiple, tactics within this overall strategy of getting onto power in these states.
Okay. One last question there. So, if this seems more of a truly a templated kind of a strategy there, as we spoke. Uh, where does it end? You think BJP, with its, election missionary and all that, is India heading into some kind of a one party system?
Well, one can really can't predict these things where the whole politics is heading, because if you had to ask 2 or 3 decades before someone, can BJP truly become a national party, people would have expressed doubts, because it was a party which was hardly any presence in South, very little presence in the East, and in except Gujarat, difficulties in the West as well. Gujarat, they have grown in a very different manner, because fragmentation of there was JD Janata, which is born out of Navanirman movement of JP, and then its fragmentation, various leaders. So there the situation was very different. But in all other states, eventually things have moved. One large state where things are kind of, it's still kind of moving back and forth is Uttar Pradesh, where Samajwadi Party and BSP still have some, they have managed to keep some level of, support base there. But again, these are kind of changing, because the question which you asked earlier, the social coalition, which is basically the support base which these regional parties bring, many of these are also being, in a way, tactically appropriated by BJP, because they are also devising social engineering, and they are also fine tuning their own social engineering to attract those. And if they are not able to get dominant parties, they are approaching the lesser dominant ones.
That's it. It's
who
no longer
are
a forward
the-
caste party, it's an OBC party.
these kind of strategies also they are adopting and trying to tweak and get them on their side. So this is one thing they constantly keep doing. BJP has been adopting this for a long time as a thing. But your question about whether there is whether it will become a one party rule, I wish we don't head towards that direction, because again, please understand one more thing, that India is a thriving democracy.
It's a serious democracy.
Yeah, and things do change very quickly. See, for instance, Congress Party has been
Still
power.
has about close to 100 MPs right now.
Yeah, no, Congress Party has been in power for many decades, and then suddenly you saw they were sliding. They were not suddenly, they slid for nearly 2.5 decades, and then BJP rose. BJP rose very phenomenally. They have come, but then suddenly BJP did receive a setback in 2024 elections, and RSS came and backed them. So one of the thing with BJP is, what are the reasons that they are able to still stick together? There is no internal dissension within BJP. You wouldn't see any opposition coming from their own governments in states, which was very prevalent in the case of Congress Party. You would see a lot of dissidents rushing back and forth between Delhi and their state capitals, which used to be a phenomenon, and a lot of news was generated on the basis of that. You won't see anything happening in the case of BJP. Largely a very well disciplined, because of the RSS backing they have. So that's one main reason where BJP is able to hold together. The second is, largely these parties are made up of various dynasts, who, even National Conference wasn't,
Farooq Abdullah.
Farooq Abdullah, no,
The
I'm
member
talking
of
about Nationalist Conference. You are talking of Kashmir. I'm also saying of, say, Sharad Pawar's party, Nationalist Congress. Again, it wasn't initially formed as a kind of a dynast or a one family party, but over a period of time it became. So same happened with the Samajwadi Party. Over a period of time it became one family party. So many of these parties are actually bereft of ideology, more family, and what is holding together with BJP is a very strong ideology and ideological. So that's one strong strong leadership, strong ideology. lack of, there is no dissidence within various this thing.
And in cadres.
And cadres. And then they are, other thing with them is basically that they are in power and they have huge resources.
And arguably they're well funded.
They're well funded and they're able to use it in many ways. And one important factor here is that the institutional failures, someone like the media, which is supposed to point faults in governance, gaps in governance, that's hardly happening. Most of the media is also not doing its its job. So therefore, dissidence either comes in within the political system, whether political parties themselves oppose, or the shortcomings of the government comes from a very strong opposition. In this case, opposition is unable to mobilize itself. Congress party's opposition is very patchy. And the anti-Congressism which pushed all these parties away from Congress party, against Congress party, I mean, that kind of thing hasn't happened. You don't hear the word anti-BJPism in the sense of political parties coming together. Even the left party, which is opposed to BJP ideology, doesn't easily gel with Congress party, as you found out in various places. So that kind of formulation hasn't yet happened. So, but I think it's again BJP, if it falters somewhere, and the leadership is pretty strong right now, with being held by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. But that's why RSS is very careful that it doesn't become more, it's more a cadre based and more.
It remains a cadre-based party.
It remains cadre-based, and it doesn't become so much of a personality cult. That they've been worrying. If you that's what we have been seeing at various news reports, that RS and others constantly worry that BJP doesn't become another, personality cult-based. That's because of this reason, that they want this power to continue for a long time. So these are various factors, but I still think that opposition will be there, and India will continue to be a thriving democracy.
Thank you very much, sir. Insightful talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.